This week on the Unsettled, myself and Will are going to look at the impossible locked room murder mystery that happened in Liverpool. Now, you enjoyed doing a little research on William Herbert Wallace. And what did you find so fascinating about this case?
Just the misdirection, really, of where, like, the sort of... We'll get into it anyway, but yeah, it's about being in two places at once, maybe.
Time travelling.
Aliens.
Still want a ghost. So, we're going to be looking at the impossible locked room murder mystery, and if you are new and you would like to subscribe, which many of you don't, feel free. And I'm sure you might like this one more than the others that we're bound to dish out in the next couple of weeks.
It's definitely a lot softer.
What, this one? It is up until the point where... Right. So, this murder took place in Liverpool, the death of a peculiar housewife back in 1931. William Herbert Wallace, an insurance salesman, seemed agitated as he rode a train to his destination in the winter evening on January 20th, 1931. William was looking for an address he had never heard of before. Whether deliberately or not, his behaviour was going to be remembered. The tram's conductor recalled how William repeatedly pestered him and the ticket inspector to alert him when to get off the tram. Which seems like
a certain stop.
Yeah, which seems like he's already making himself known to a lot of people, because in some retrospect you're being annoying, but then you're old, so people give older people more leeway than someone younger going, am I getting off yet? Am I getting off yet? Am I getting off yet? Am I getting off yet?
Yeah, like, is this my stop?
Yeah,
And
whereas he's
stop,
quite old and he could have certain types of dementia, maybe early signs of it, who knows. When the train came to William's destination, William made sure to say, I'm a complete stranger around here. Now, I would like to add, friends and people who knew William and Julia Wallace all said both were very peculiar. They kind of lived more of a hermit lifestyle.
Yeah, they kept themselves to themselves.
Some would even say that Julia was very odd, nervous, and would be very cautious of people outside of her home. So this may be something that you would possibly like to think about as we go further in. Whereas William was more of a chatterbox, but also a nervous one. So that could explain why his, well,
maybe his chatterbox, like,
is nervous.
Personality,
is nervous.
Is to hide.
The more you talk, the less nervous you feel.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he could become really annoying.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up. Now, I would like to add, friends and people who knew William and Julia Wallace all both said that they also would live in, like I said, more of a hermit lifestyle. They would very rarely venture out, they would very rarely do anything at all, and they were never really seen together.
No.
Which is kind of odd, as they're an old married couple. You'd think they would venture out and so forth. Well, that's what you would do if you're old, surely. I mean, your grandparents would venture out together.
Yeah.
But for these two people to be seen
out,
drag you out. What, be like, oh, come on, let's go do some shopping.
All granddad were like, oh, we'll go and have a game of golf at my park in Maidstone. That was quite nice, actually. Gets you out and about, rather than in my room playing computer games and...
So you'd rather be smacking balls around. Says a lot about the guy's personality. William was looking for an address in a strange part of town. The address was also he was advertising to meet at was 25 Menlove Gardens East.
Oh really? Menlove.
There's a place you would like to visit. The question is though, did this place actually exist? So you've been there, have you?
Oh yeah.
That's what the men told you. Come meet me at Menlove Gardens. If he was unsure of this place, he had good reason to be, considering how this appointment was made. A local cafe that William would occasionally attend for chess club received a call for him the previous night, January 19th. The caller, given the name R.M. Quiltroff or something very close to it. Weirdly enough, William wasn't a regular to the chess club though. So obviously the caller knew he was attending
He was going to be there at a certain
that
time.
night, which is also kind of odd.
Mm.
He would show up every so often anyway, and suffered a lot of kidney problems. So if William didn't show, he wouldn't be on this goose chase. But despite the caller telling Samuel Betty, what's his name? Samuel Betty? Can't name that. To meet at this location for insurance businesses, he told the caller William may not arrive, yet the caller was adamant he would. William attended chess club that night, and despite William never getting calls at the chess club, he was happy to take it as a commission was needed due to the hard times in England at that precise era.
Yeah.
The Depression era, some would call it. He took the address down, name and time to meet, 7:30. And here William was looking around Liverpool at night, old and getting lost, asking anyone for help in finding the address.
Yeah.
Anything to add before I continue?
Yeah, he stopped a copper that was doing his beat.
Yeah, police officers. Yeah.
And asked them where Menlough Gardens East was.
And tram conductors
And
shop workers.
Shop workers. And they could say that Menlough Gardens North, South and West
existed.
But
the
they
East
can
didn't.
tell you where they were. But
Yeah.
East, they wasn't sure of
But
where it was.
at the moment, I either find this old man really annoying, or he's
You
like,
just feel a little bit sorry for him at this point.
he's old, it's getting dark, he's got kidney problems. He
Yeah,
should be
it is.
locked up in bed, tending to his wife. The peculiar one. The nervous dispositioned one. But was he basically doing all of this to orchestrate his alibi? That's one thought that I had.
It's a possibility.
It's a cover-up, maybe.
Mm.
Or was he worried he may be on a wild goose chase? Because I've travelled to places and I've often been like, I've asked people, I've been like, do you know where this is? And it's somewhere I've never been before, and I've often worried about getting there. So I
Yeah.
want to get there safely.
Yeah, it's that.
Especially when I went through the London Underground for the first time, that fucking shit me up.
What is that? Like the passage thing, isn't it? Like if you know your destination,
Yeah.
and you walk there or get there happily.
But going somewhere strange,
Yeah, you're
He-
always going to ask directions. You're always going to ask. Like I would personally, I would ask for directions if I wasn't sure.
you'd think a
where
police
to go.
officer would be able to help him.
You would have thought so, but I was always told never approach a night cop because 9 times out of 10 they'll just turn around and beat your ass.
Is that something that happened a lot in your family? Some people's asses getting beat. Sounds like you
Well,
have
there
some
was
issues
there
with
was
some police officers.
There were some definitely dodgy players in my family. Yes, I'm not gonna lie.
Poker players.
Hmm?
Poker players. They'll break up the poker and poker players. No, not in it. Okay. Turns out, like what Will said, there is a few Menlove Gardens in Liverpool, a north, south, and west, but not an east. Could this have been possibly a joke at this point? Oh, come here to Menlove Gardens East. I mean, it could have been.
It could have been. They could have meant something else, maybe, but you never know.
Yeah. Confused and alone, no sign of Menlove Gardens East. Was this something more sinister happening? As he continued to walk around Liverpool, he decided to eventually go home. Around 8:45, John and Florence Williams, neighbours, noticed William outside his home of 29 Wolverton Street. He was looking confused and unsure. He said both the front door and back door won't open. Kind of a bit odd. You come home and your front door and back door don't open. No? Both doors were seemingly locked. They watched him as he struggled, then tried the back door again. It opened. He asked, has anything unusual happened at the house?
That's a bit suspect. Like, why would you ask?
I don't know. Maybe like if
Maybe they've had an argument and she's changed the locks. Maybe that's why he was on
anything
about.
unusual happened, an old
Yeah,
man
it's-
come in, has it?
Has another man come in and changed me locks? Can't get in me doors.
Alright, sounds a bit weird.
Yeah.
They followed William and stood near the back door as he saw all the lights off. He lit an oil lamp and entered his home.
An oil
Why
lamp.
just turn on the light?
Well, it's the 30s, mate.
It's like, oh, gotta get me thunder light out. Why?
Oh.
An oil lamp.
Let's make this into a murder mystery.
How old is this man? He's got an oil lamp and he's walking around playing fucking Cluedo. It's true, right?
No, that's true.
They waited outside, then William came back out, slightly shaken, saying, "My wife, come and see. She's been killed." Would you
Why would you say come and see?
Come and have a look at my dead wife and tell me if she's dead.
Yeah, I need witnesses.
It sounds that way.
Mm.
It really would, because that's not something I'd do.
Well, it's not something you would do generally. You would literally you would say, like, you'd be panicked. You
wouldn't say, "Oh, come and see, she's been killed."
No, she'd just be my wife, and then you would end it there because you'd just be
too shaken.
Yeah.
To the neighbours' horror, William's wife Julia was laid out in the living room in front of a gas fire, violently battered to death, blood splatter and brain matter on the walls. William shouted, "They've finished her. Look at her brains."
Brains.
Do you reckon this old man's gone, "Quick, my wife, she's been killed.
Oh no.
Look at the blood splatter. Look at the brains. They finished her off. I can't believe they've done such a thing."
It's like a proper 30s novel, isn't it? Like, let's find the killer.
It doesn't sound if someone, I don't know, it doesn't sound like he's panicking. If that was me, I'd be panicking.
I can say, like, people would take certain things in, like, you would act certainly, like, in certain different ways.
Look at my wife, she's been murdered, they finished her.
Mm.
Sounds like they're playing a video game. Yeah, I finished you in 1 second.
Mm.
Him saying they've finished her. That word, they've finished her.
Yeah.
It makes it sound like there's more than one. So what are your thoughts right now? Because I'm pretty sure this is quite
weird.
It is quite a bogus act, to be fair. Quite a bogus act.
Mm.
After William said, "Look at her brains," William sat down, pale and uneasy, muttering to himself. William walked into the kitchen. He noticed his locked cupboard broken open. He kept his insurance collection money in there. £4 stolen, he shouted. So after his wife's just been bludgeoned to death, he's known, "Oh shit, my money." It's like,
uh-oh.
She's fucked. What about the money? £4. How poor do you have to be?
Well, no, £4 back then.
I know, but still,
quite a lot of money.
£4.
Mm.
It's like he actually opened up the tin, did this, and went 1, 2. Yep, £4 has been stolen. Not that my wife has been bludgeoned to death, but £4 has definitely gone missing. I counted this morning before I went on my goose chase. £4. What are you thinking so far?
It's
okay.
It's
right.
too staged.
Okay.
At this point,
The house had not been ransacked, and Julia's handbag was untouched beside her. So they steal the £4.
They took the money out.
But
of the cupboard,
they leave
but
more
left.
money in the purse and handbag. Doesn't make sense to me.
No, I would write robbery out completely on that one.
Yeah. The neighbour called the police. William and John's wife sat waiting, not touching anything. He's just checked his fucking money. That was his main concern. He didn't look over at his wife or like kneel down, crying his eyes out, grabbing her, shaking her, going, "Why did you die?"
No.
He was more concerned about his £4.
My money.
My money. That's what I mean. He was more concerned. 20 minutes later, the police arrived. They investigated the house. Someone had been upstairs and rummaged only in one room, and it was a bit obscure.
Yes.
I wouldn't say
It wasn't like they were looking for anything.
It was just like,
looking.
"Oh, let's see what." No, they've got nothing. I'm going to go to his locked cupboard in the kitchen because that's where you keep money.
Why would you lock a cupboard? Oh, there must be money in it.
Do you reckon that's what they thought? The police also noticed under Julia's body was a Macintosh coat. Was this the killer's? It didn't belong to either of them. So, just clarifying, there was a Macintosh coat there. If so, it was somewhat burned. While the police struggled to put evidence together, they also had half a police force. So some officers doubled up, taking roles not qualified for due to a police strike. Which is often the case in most police crimes.
Yeah, but this is where they said that they've hashed up on it.
Yeah.
Because you had people untrained for certain aspects of the job, but they're doing different jobs that they're not trained for.
I mean, there is a police strike going on. It is the depression area. They've taken his £4. He's lost for words. £4.
A lot of money.
Mate, if I had to pick between £4 and my wife, I'd choose my wife. Even if I had to pick 4 million and my wife, I'd still choose the wife. I'd be more concerned that she's been bludgeoned to death.
Oh, I don't know. £4 is £4, mate.
You're a couple much. You wouldn't know that. You're trying to open it up, broke you now, aren't I? I knew it was happening. So, while the time of death was rather shit in terms of messed up, they used rigor mortis to determine time of death, and while this is rather bludgeoned, it's rather wrecked, it's not a good way to do time of death, because your body can decompose quicker in certain lights. She's next to a fucking open fire. She's got to start.
You've got temperature, time, atmosphere. Like you've got too many things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
Or too many things that would speed it up or slow.
Exactly.
Down.
Like you could die now. I'll put you in the freezer and then pull you back out, and I think you've just died because your body would be all squidgy as you start to defrost, and you'd still be warm.
But rigor mortis would set in after that anyway because it's
usually around 5 to 6 hours. Rigor mortis, just saying. They were led to believe Julia had died at 8:45 or 8 p.m. Sorry, 45 minutes before William arrived home. But as this was wrong, they later changed the time of death despite no other tests being done.
Yeah, and they changed it to an hour and a half earlier.
Bit of a bodge job by the police force. We have noticed that the police force in any crimes are shit.
They will jump to one conclusion and then they will form. They will try and back up that conclusion.
It's the fact that half of her brain was coming out of her ear.
Yeah.
That just shows the detail.
And how much brutality went into attack like that.
Put it this way, she's a nervous woman. She very rarely ventures out.
She's not exactly going to fight back, is she? She's very nervous.
It seems like a very vicious attack for no money to be taken. And the only way you would have a vicious attack such as that would usually come to the conclusion of a lover's quarrel or someone that really fucking hates her.
Yeah.
That's the only way it would ever work. The more detailed examination of Julia showed she had been beaten severely in the head by a blunt object. The most severe blows occurred around the left ear, where the brain was protruding from the skull. So if we're looking at the way that she fell onto a coat, you put the coat down to stop the blood going on the carpet. Or to stop
you cover her up.
Oh, you throw it over her head and attack her from behind. So we figured it out. That's it. End of Unsettled.
And then roll them on.
We figured it out. Cover her head. She don't know who done it. If she was to survive it.
Yeah. Well, even not. You do that to cover yourself.
But
to protect yourself.
Here's the downside to it. They realised the blows were done while she was face down on the floor in front of the fire. So they must have tackled her to the ground, then brutally went to town. But then the left-hand side of the head would then have to mean that it was a left-handed person.
Not necessarily.
It would be really awkward to do. Yeah, but it would be really awkward to swing round when someone's on the floor. You'd be much more easier to do this rather than come over. Like I said, it sounds like a hated murder, to be honest. Police believe she may have caught her dress and coat by the fire as she fell. So someone could have stamped out the fire because she would have gone up in flames. Detective Herbert Moore arrived to the scene, semi-drunk, had his eye on Williams as the main suspect. Let alone,
what a delicious copy he was, I bet.
I
think it's you, boy.
Can you imagine himself like this?
Where's the Imagine?
Just turns up drunk like 2 hours later. Where's the murder? Oh yeah, they've taken the body. Oh, I'll come back tomorrow. So basically he had his eye on Williams as the main suspect, let alone in the back of his mind a local criminal who had burgled a few houses in the area. Upon looking around the living room, Detective Herbert noticed the blood covering the walls, ceiling, and at least 7 foot high across the ceiling. Which is kind of odd. Whoever done this was covered in blood. Put it that way.
You would have to be.
There is no way you wouldn't not be covered in blood after this.
No.
He checked the sinks and taps, all revealed they hadn't been used in over 7 hours. So no one had wiped themselves clean.
No. So they would have left blood stains.
Yeah, so the killer was walking the streets covered in blood. Makes sense. The police found no murder weapon, yet William and Julia's cleaner pointed out the fire poker and an iron bar was missing. Judging by the attack, it's possible these were the murder weapons.
Yeah.
William gave the police his story, his wild goose chase, the phone call, how he was looking for Menlove Gardens East. The police asked him to write this down at the station. He also stated, I don't suspect anyone. We are both very hermit-like. We don't know many people. Could have been a random attack. I'm going to defend this old man. I think this old man was just sent on a wild goose chase and he was really upset and he was confused and he comes home and he sees his wife bludgeoned to death and he's probably really distraught he's lost his £4.
Yeah. The thing is, like, so there is cases where some burglaries happen where they will phone up the house in question. And obviously if someone...
See who's home.
Yeah, see who's home. If there's no one home, then...
It's an easy break-in, basically.
Yeah.
If
there is someone there, sometimes they'll try the directions. So they're like, oh, you're blah, 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 blah.
We saw this with the Sodder family.
Yeah.
The phone call.
And
get the house on fire. Yeah. Okay.
So we don't know, like, the petty crimes in the area, or the crime in the area. We don't know...
No, but the police are ruling out
whether they all had phone calls before their burglaries.
Okay, that's true.
And it just so happened that she didn't answer the phone, and she was still in the house or flat or wherever.
But still, an old woman ain't got to put much off the fire.
Well, no, but you'd still expect them to, like, she'll be in the chair. There's a dark room, open lit fire. They break in. They're like going around the house, and then she gets up and pokes the fire and disturbs them. Instantly turn around and...
It sounds like you're defending the old man.
Well, I'm looking at it.
I'm now going to point loads of clues to how it could have been the old man.
Okay.
Okay, so the police still suspected William. They also found out the telephone call to the chess club was done by the phone booth under 400 yards from William's house. Which then, like you said, could point out that
they...
Is it possible William planned this, or was he watched? Easy old couple to prey upon?
It depends if he had a routine.
It sounds like he barely left the house.
So no, when he did leave the house, it could have a routine.
So we could say this could be a coincidence. Perhaps that the telephone booth was next to the tram William took to the chess club. Was this the perfect alibi for murder? Police asked questions to those William spoke to the day of Julia's death. They found his behaviour odd, and despite how strange it may sound, was his behaviour planned, making sure he had witnesses. A good witness would be a police officer. To say, oh yeah, because you're bound to believe a police officer.
They're all on strike, and to be fair, I wouldn't really trust these Merseyside coppers anyway. They turn up to crime scenes pissed, mate. Like, and it's the 30s, so you'll probably get a clip round the ear for just asking where the fucking train station is.
Or as you said,
a damn good beating.
So while this may sound very true and a strong possibility, he had killed his wife. The times he was out looking for Menlove Gardens East does not pinpoint him anywhere at home. Capable of killing his wife, so many witnesses came forward to, despite what the police thought, it only gave William a 15-minute window to kill his wife in.
Yeah. But then they are going by the rigor mortis.
But this would be a 15-minute window to kill his wife, change his clothes, and go catch a tram. An old man rushing around with kidney problems.
Go round one circuit and then come back.
An old man running around with kidney problems. No. So, no weapon, no suspects, no motive. Whoever killed Julia had committed the perfect unsolved crime. Sadly, the police did charge William with the murder of his own wife. The 4-day trial committee said the murder was done naked or the killer was naked. So here's an old man with kidney problems running around semi-naked butchering his wife. But then he would still have blood on his body. He'd have to shower.
You'd have it somewhere.
The brain was protruding from the skull. You'd have to whack at someone that hard.
And it'd literally be everywhere, in your head,
Right.
everywhere.
Yet, when William was in trial, he stood calmly, yet slightly nervous, if not lonely, told the same story looking more and more sad, but never getting angry despite how aggressive the questions became. Usually when someone is lying, they get really angry, or if they really want to make their defence known, they will get angry. So it works both ways.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't fucking do it, fuck off, or it's simply, why are you asking me that? Then the anger comes.
Yeah.
Despite this, he was found guilty and sentenced to death. He claimed, I am not guilty. William was sentenced to a hanging, yet it was overturned with a lack of evidence and nothing solid. While the newspapers had fun with the headlines, William was classed as the chess player that couldn't checkmate. It's a good one. Good, isn't it? Yeah. Now, I can play chess well, and those who can are good at planning. Just saying. I mean, I can play chess.
Well, yeah, because you have to think 2 or 3 moves ahead.
You always have to be 2 or 3 moves ahead. You have to be in life. That's how it works. Planning and always seeing an opportune moment. You still
Spot your weakness.
Are you still thinking this old man killed his wife? Is it fair to say William Wallace is a mastermind that outsmarted the police? It doesn't take much.
It doesn't take a lot if they're half pissed, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
Not much. Not much. Sadly, William was of low morale and his health suffered. William moved away to a quiet bungalow and his kidney problems worsened. He kept himself to himself, rarely venturing out. He fell severely ill at Christmas in 1932 and died a lonely death in February 1933. Now, I see no motive, and despite William saying £4 was missing, the lid and tin was not damaged or forced open, just the cupboard was. If you're ransacking a place,
suspect though.
if you're ransacking a place, you throw everything on the floor and tear the whole place apart.
Yeah.
Nothing was, and the tin was firmly put back on. So whoever took the £4, unscrewed it, took them out, put the screw back, put it back in. Yet they've just bludgeoned the wife, and blood is everywhere. Now they're worried about making a mess. That doesn't make sense. I reckon he suffered some form of dementia, took the £4 just in case he needed it, and then whatever happened to his wife happened. That's just my thought process. I mean, he's got kidney problems. What happens when men have kidney problems? They start to hallucinate, see things slightly differently.
Yeah.
Like a urine infection for a man, it's a lot different for a man than what it is for a woman. As you well know. I'm not saying he's had urine problems, but
no, I don't.
He's had family members with urine.
Yeah.
Have you got a urine problem?
No, I haven't.
Right, he hasn't got a urine problem. Right. I also learned that no money or silver or anything was taken. So it wasn't burglary. They killed her and locked the house afterwards, but all keys was present. Or so they thought. Julia was also paranoid. Never opened the door, and there was no forced entry.
And if she was that paranoid, she wouldn't answer the phone, would she?
Good point. I also know, as I went through this constantly, I went through it 11 times over, I think. They worked out that they had bludgeoned his wife 15 times with this object. It's not a sign of a rushed killer. Bear that in mind. It's not a stab wound run away. It's not a gunshot run away.
No, it's
right?
I'm going to do this properly.
But more of a repeated passion.
Yeah.
And while it looks bad on William, he seems too frail to do such a thing. It seems like an attack of passion, something you do in anger when you want to get rid of someone who you possibly lived with for so long. But William is too frail. I mean, he's walking around the streets of London holding his willy because he's got a urine infection, asking people, can you help me? He doesn't seem the type of person to pick up a fucking poker and butcher his wife.
No, and he was out.
Or so we think. And I decided to dig deeper. It seems bad on William because he knew Liverpool very well, travelling all over Liverpool for insurance claims. His friend also stated William had no reason to ask people where to get off or what steps to take. His friend stated he didn't take my advice to go to Menlove Gardens or route. Seems he was wasting time. He was an insurance dealer who lived in Liverpool all his life. He would know there is no Menlove Gardens East. And don't say because he's an old man he's probably forgotten. He's travelling all over. He needs money. It's the same as us knowing our hometown, which I won't pronounce, but we know it from head to tail. We know where to go.
Yeah.
We would know if a road didn't seem right. And for someone travelling all over to insurance purposes, it made no sense for William to not know that this place did not exist. He would know it didn't exist. And it also seems, like I said, he's wasting time. Now, it's true, William may have had an accomplice. You gonna add anything to this?
So there was a young man where William works
At the insurance firm.
At the insurance firm. He basically about a year after death, he basically left the insurance firm. But William was said to say that he was that he got fired. But the insurance firm, which is Prudential, actually said no. He left on his own accord because he found.
Is this the
something
same?
else.
Is this
It
the
was
same
all
gentleman that
left
did?
over a cloud,
Yeah.
and like no one really knows why he left, where he left, but they do know that he used to often
Go around there.
go round.
And
to
so
Julia's.
Julia and William would know this man, and they would invite him round for tea.
Yeah.
And food, and
So-
sit and chat with him. So
Yeah.
Julia
So
wouldn't
he
be
was
scared.
mentioned, but not by name.
Yeah, but Julia wouldn't be scared if this
To let
man
him
was
in. No.
to approach, let him in, and it's possible he could have had a key cut. Not gonna lie, it's easy. Also, I would like to add, William never actually went home first when he got off the tram. He was seen talking to a petty thief / criminal, which could be the guy in question that you've just said.
It could have been, but it's not.
Okay. Do you want to add anything else before we get to our theory section?
Yes, the name of the man.
Go ahead.
So obviously about 41 years later,
Okay.
they actually found out who this man was, and his name was called Richard Gordon Parry.
Okay.
And he had given the police an alibi for the time of Julia's murder, but it was later found out that it was falsified.
So I just want to clarify, is this the guy you think actually killed Julia?
Yes.
You reckon?
Yes.
And this is your main theory? You're not doing no breakup, you're being directly on suit with this?
Yep. Like, so this young gentleman, he's basically now disappeared.
Okay.
No one can find him, he's changed his name.
Okay.
He's moved, whatever. Like, he's just under the radar at this point now.
Okay.
And it's basically after Julia's death, and maybe after being jilted for his
Okay.
maybe forefront affection, maybe like, well, so, you know, get William out of the house, go around, confess his love. She was like, I'm not interested in it.
Oh, that can kind of go on to the whole murder part. Like, it was a murder of passion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
she was like, I'm not into it. I don't want this. You're just a good friend. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
Okay.
He's snapped, done the deed.
Took the poker,
legged.
smashed her in.
Yeah.
You reckon it was him?
I do.
I'm gonna add a twist to this.
Okay.
So while you think it was this man, who obviously seemingly was madly in love with Julia, and I'm I'm sure Julia wouldn't open the door to someone that she could possibly know was madly in love with her and possibly harassed her on a daily basis. Just clarifying, if a girl doesn't like a guy, they kind of avoid the guy because of the harassment.
Okay.
You're not going to open the door to someone who would be possibly constantly begging for your affection.
No.
It would become annoying, much like fucking William Wallace walking around.
True,
Liverpool.
but then she is very preserved in herself anyway.
Okay.
Maybe on the verge of innocence, maybe.
So during this whole story, there was one thing that you probably didn't clock onto. Now, when William Wallace got off the tram, spoke to the gentleman, that possibly could have just been a friend, and he was like, "Oh, I've been sent on this wild goose chase, I'm now going to go home, it's getting late, need the bathroom, urine problem," right? Didn't you find it a little bit odd that the neighbours were outside already waiting for William to get home?
Not necessarily. So,
I would.
They're old.
Yeah, but they...
Like, the community around that area is looking out for everyone else.
Okay, but still, nothing has gone on if you're on the outside, not knowing what's going on the inside. Why are them neighbours outside?
Well, they could have been, like, pruning their front garden, mate.
At 7:30 at night, possibly 8 o'clock.
Well, yeah, there's long summers, mate.
Nah. Like you said, they're watching out for each other, so why are they watching the house and waiting for William to come home?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know why the neighbours were outside.
Right, no, I've just got to clarify. This is where it kind of throws a curveball, because it is said that William gave these neighbours a key to make sure they checked on Julia every so often because of her nervous disposition. So, just clarifying, how do you make a bit of easy money?
Okay.
There was no forced entry. The doors were locked.
Yeah, but you're not just going to nick £4 out of the tin if you need it.
Like you said, it's a lot of money back then.
True. I would say that the Parry kid that I was on about, he comes from a well-off background. He doesn't need money.
Exactly.
And
this
I will throw a curveball back at you, sir.
Go on.
So,
it's like you're trying to outsmart my mind. Go on.
Parry had visited a local garage later on that day that he had used many times in the past. And a mechanic at the garage noticed that he was going around the corner to the pressure washer.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's a bit weird.
I know where this is going.
Considering that he doesn't have a car with him.
Yeah. Did he get rid of an iron metal bar?
No.
Oh.
The mechanic said that he noticed that one of his gloves that he had on was soaked in blood. And when the police and everyone else tried to track him down, and they finally caught up with him to realise that he had passed away 2 months before they found him. So they only managed to identify him from...
So, here's where I'm going to turn the tables on you.
Okay. Again?
Yeah.
What are the twists?
There's a lot of twists to this. So, what would William gain, possibly, from killing his wife, considering she had no health insurance?
Nothing.
Literally, he lived a life of severe loneliness, and he often relied on her because of his severe health. So why would then he kill someone? Or why would he get someone to kill someone if they both relied on each other because of their both nervous dispositions?
Well, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't. You'd rely on that person. I mean, till death do us part, right? So why would he get someone who's possibly a bit of a petty criminal to butcher his wife for then him to also... Okay, right, so say he didn't do it and say this guy wanted £4. Like you said, he comes from a rich background. Why would he need to? Maybe we could do a long string of events. He went round because, you know, William Wallace decided to ask him, can you check on Julia? He went round, possibly saw Julia's body laying on the floor, put his coat underneath it, you know, trying to get her to... You don't know. He probably went round there to check on her and she's laying there
Bit
dead.
weird though. Like, oh, there's a dead body. I'm not going to phone anyone. I'm just going to put my coat down on the floor and roll the body onto it.
Maybe she was still alive and he wrapped her up in this coat, not knowing what to do. He's a young guy.
I still think that he phoned up, got William out of the house.
I reckon it was the neighbours.
Because he would be the only person that would know that he was going to the chess club.
Maybe.
And obviously he goes round there, he's a 22-year-old lad.
Kills an old lady, but there was also no sexual motive.
No, but
If
you may or may not have feelings for this certain lady.
9 times out of 10, if a woman's been killed, she's usually been raped and sexually assaulted.
Not if it's a passion, like a crime of passion.
Which is why you think it could have been her ex-lover, the lover that liked her.
Yeah.
But don't you think it's weird that the neighbours were outside waiting for Mr. Wallace to come home?
Yeah, but you don't know, like...
It's 7:30 at night, it's pitch black.
It's not pitch black at 7:30.
Wintertime, December, yes it is. I remember his notes, keep up. It's wintertime, December. So what are your guys' thoughts? We're torn. I just think it's very odd.
I think it was a lover jilted.
I think it was the neighbours. They knew how much money.
Well, that's one thing, folks. Keep your eyes on your neighbours. You never know who you can trust.
And that's how you're ending it.
Yep.
Okay, so we're the Unsettled, and our next case will be I don't know. It might be
Definitely a weird one.
Just think fish tank. It wasn't that bad, was it? See? I got into a swing bit too.